brings us to always a rousing induction, the local hero. And boy, do we have a local hero today. Figgy's already getting nervous, I can tell. He's getting and how can he be nervous when we listen to him like 24/7, right, at every surf contest ever around? And now he's got to get up here and speak about himself, and he's like sweating down there in the front row. Actually, what's really interesting is Rockin Fig was on the team with poor Rockin. They were on the NSSA national team together back in 1981. And that's when I first got to know the Rockin Fig. Of course, I've now lived in this town for over 33 years, so I see Fig nearly every day. Out at the north side, he's usually out there every day. Of course, he's got a great surf shop up the beach, and it's a tribute that he's the local hero, because that's one of the coolest local surf shops we have. You go in there and there's boards everywhere, and Fig will talk to you about them all day long. He loves to talk, right? So without any further ado, I'm going to get Rockin Fig up here to talk to you about his induction as a local hero.
Wow, what a turnout here. I can't believe it. Let me just pop this mic off. I'm a little bit more of a kind of a moving guy, but to see so many of my friends out there took the day off from work, I'm stoked about that. Being honored to just be on the Surfing Walk of Fame. So many legendary guys on there. The other day I had nothing to do. I got on the internet and I said, hey, I'm going to read the bios of everybody, and I was like, whoa, there are some heavy people on this list. What am I doing here? You know, I'm still thinking maybe somebody stuffed that ballot box for me, but you know, somehow, some way, you know, got inducted. So I'm really stoked on that. I got to say one other thing. Proud to live in Huntington Beach. That's right. Proud to be an American. Wouldn't want to live anywhere else. Wouldn't want to live anywhere else. But I gotta say, the surfing career started when my mom and dad, they bought a house. The renters, they rented it out. The people moved out. They left the surfboard there back in the 60s. And that was my first board. I used to drag that thing to the beach. It was so big, couldn't even carry it. So that's where the whole thing started. Got addicted to surfing. Got really into it. Got on the Huntington Beach High School surf squad, you know. Never really had the ability of somebody like Bud Lamas, because that guy ripped so hard he could win a contest on one side of the pier, he could win a contest on the other side of the pier. But you know what? I had a lot of tenacity, and I kept on trying, and kind of got lucky, you know. Made it on the OCC college team. We actually won a couple national titles there. Made it on the NSSA national team. PT, Ian, my coaches. So that was kind of great. And then actually got on the 1980 world team that won the gold over in France with Tom Curran, Willie Morris, and Ian's wife, Alyssa, on that team too. So, you know, kind of a couple little things in my life that I'm stoked about. Also knocking off 10 West Coast titles. But along with those wins, there's been a lot of losses, and never could really wrap up the whole United States title, which I always wanted. 3 seconds in the US, that was as close as I could get. Almost won a national title one time, got the interference. PT knows about those, because me and him have clashed so many times. A couple of them in a few heats. But enough of my surfing. Then I kind of started trying to get into radio, and this guy, the poor man, wanted to learn how to surf, and he called up the shop I was working in. It was me and David. He says, hey, could you teach us how to surf? So me and David took him out there, and this was K-Rock Radio, and they didn't even have a surf report back then. So poor man said, hey, let's get this surf report thing going. So we asked David, you want to do it? Dave's like, get up at 6:45 in the morning, are you kidding? Are you kidding? That was my break, because I said, I'll do it. So I used to run down, check it out, and phone in the report. But that was probably one of my big accomplishments, going like 26 years doing that. Finally got pulled on the plug. We've gone to internet now, but as far as, you know, doing that, it was pretty cool. I got some supporters out there I saw on the internet. Thanks. Then the next thing, surf contest. that was my next thing. I figured, hey, I wasn't good enough to make it as a pro surfer. Maybe I could just get in the industry. So the next thing I'm thinking, maybe I'll try announcing. So I got in, kind of did a few skating contests, and then I got the call one day. It was PT on the phone. He's telling me, hey, dude, there's a tryout for the U.S. tour. You got to do it. I'm like, all right, let's do this thing. So I went to it, but it was at a wave pool in Irvine. I'm calling a surf contest. Kelly Slater in the wave pool, you know, slashing away. But somehow iced the job, and then it was cool. Got to do that for a while. But I had to say this, surf contests back in the old days, kind of boring. They'd call you for a heat, you'd go out there, check in, and they'd say like, oh, that surfer rode that wave under tons of thundering whitewater. So I used to go to speedway races, and I thought, come on, let's spice it up a little bit. So we kind of started getting that colored commentary going on describing the waves. So kind of doing that, then kind of did the Bud Surf Tour for a while, even worked under Mr. Ian Carnes, my boss. He pushed me to another limit there, showing me and telling me what real work was all about. And then kind of got lucky in the early 90s, finally got to do one of the OP contests, because every year it was like, well, hey Fig, if Rabbit doesn't show up, you're the next announcer on the list. So finally got to do a couple OPs. Then in '94, the US Open started. And finally I got the phone call. I was like, whoa, the big time. It was a CT right here in Huntington. And I got to do that, and incredibly, somehow, have made it till this year, which is year number 17. I was waiting for the phone call going, whoa, I'm not taking nothing for granted anymore. But anyways, the Open, it's one of my favorite contests. If you're an announcer, when you have 100,000 people on the beach, I mean, this is it. If you can get them screaming and yelling about something, this is a contest, man. So the U.S. Open, my favorite one. It's in my heart. And I got to go back down there a little bit. Another thing I've done is NSSA National Championships. Amateurs from all over the world come in. They fly here. Been lucky kind of doing that for 21 years. But seeing some of these pro guys like the Hobgood brothers, Lopez brothers, Irons brothers, Bruce and Andy, Freddie Boy Patasia, Bobby Martinez, Carissa Moore take amateur titles and then take their careers on, stepping up, going on the world tour. It was way cool. And I was kind of feeling back in the day that, you know, the Australians, nothing against you, PT, but the Americans were getting their butts kicked, and I had to get on there and pump these kids up that they could go out there and do some damage. And it's cool to see that they have been doing some of that. My writing. Well, once again, never really considered myself a writer, but this town had so many hot surfers in it, getting no coverage like baseball, football, soccer. I had to force myself into writing, so I started writing for the Independent and the Times. Actually did it for like 20 years, kind of a little different style than the normal writers, but I was kind of stoked to, you know, cover the guys here in Huntington Beach, and then kind of open up, you know, everybody's eyes to what was happening around the world and stuff. So that, another one of my dreams coming true, doing a little bit of writing. And the last thing is my surf shop. Hard to believe, up the street, 20 years in existence, somehow, some way, every year. Pulling off the littlest surf shop, just like a closet, but, you know, stoked. Everybody likes to hang out in there, you know, and I've seen a lot of young, cool kids come and go. I mean, eventually they grew up, had to get a real job. Then I get the next 5 in there, and we're hanging for a few more years, surfing every day. Then they gotta go, but it's been pretty fun. I gotta throw a shout out. Some of my homies that aren't here but are part of me. Mike Morgan, I love him. He used to announce the Open forever. Pops the Wava. That guy was inspirational. Hawk and Hayward shaped tons of boards for me. Kissel, North, Tornado, Clemo, Marvin, and the boys. I miss you. You're all a piece of my life. And I just want to say a special thanks going to my mom for believing and sponsoring me forever. My dad for the love of the ocean, his personality, used to be in radio and an actor. Jody for putting up with me as a surfer. My kids, Ricky and Chanel, just being there. Dennis, my brother, who actually started me off in surfing. K-Rock, I want to thank you. I heard they got a van down here somewhere, concert tickets and fun gigs. Bob and Dennis from Toledo, Huntington Beach. Killer Wheels, man. You stoked me out. Just cool guys. My friends, David DeWeva, taking me under his wing when I was just a grom. And Pops the Wave too, he's a legend. PT for pushing me to achieve, who's involved in all the surfing happenings. He is the man. That's all I gotta say. Give a round of applause, PT. Shut down for critiquing me and my salesmanships back in the old days. And Parney, I don't know if you're out there, for cracking the whip on me all those years for the training program. Other than that, I just want to say special thanks. Thanks for the induction. Thanks for the boat. I don't know, did somebody rig that box? I still can't believe it. And all my homies, thanks for coming on down. Thank you. Yo. And I was getting scared, I was sweating, and I thought I was gonna start choking up and not even be able to talk. Somehow, some way made it through. Yeah! Thanks.